Hello, I'm Ron Miscavige, and this is another life lesson. And welcome to the show. I have a very nice lesson today, and this took place quite a long time ago. And I'd like to start off by just orienting you as to exactly where it took place and what the scene was in those days. Let's go back to the 40s, and probably around 44, 45, the war was still being fought. And this takes place in a little town called Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, which is in the northeast section of the state of Pennsylvania. And it's a little town that's 1 mile square, coal mining town, kind of a rough and ready atmosphere. You know, miners working hard, go to Pinkoski Saloon at night, have a couple beers, and just go down the mines the next day and work their ass off. And straight ahead. I mean, just in those days, everybody worked, even little kids. When I'd say that they worked, they didn't work a job, but you had chores to do, and you just did them automatically. You wouldn't challenge them and say, "Why do I have to do this?" It was the moral code, I would say. Anyway, this takes place, as I said, in the 40s, and it's right on my street, on Center Street in Mount Carmel. And it takes place in the backyard of a person who worked for the railroad company. Amrick was his name. Because he worked for the railroad company, he was able to get railroad ties. I don't know whether he took them, but without permission. But anyway, he was able to get them. And he built a fence in his backyard, putting a railroad tie and then some fencing material between it, another one, dug it into the ground. And I mean, this goddamn fence, I don't know if you could have pushed it over with a bulldozer. It was really strong. It's almost besides the point, but I just thought I'd mention this. So now this is taking place on a summer day, and it is a beautiful day with blue skies, temperature probably in the 70s, low humidity. I can remember these things because it was just a wonderful day. And in the backyard, there's a guy named Joe. I don't want to mention his last name because he was a character, and there's no reason to throw him under the bus because that's the way he was, and he was a psychopath, let's put it that way. There was Joe, and he had two buddies with him, and usually the way it is with the psychopath, you get people, maybe one or two people, who are like professional butt kissers, and they'll hang on to this guy and kind of engage with him so they feel a little of his power, which is a mistake, but that's what people do. Anyway, there's Joe and two of his cohorts, and they got Richard Amrick, the son of the guy whose house this is taking place in. They took him and they tied him up with his hands behind his back around this railroad tie. They had an umbrella, and they took it was an old umbrella, they took it apart and took the spokes out of it. And they were going to go and stick these spokes into his body. Now, I can tell you, when I was a little kid, I was skinny, man. I'll tell you, I wouldn't say I was fragile because I had a little bit of guts, but man, I could not back up my mouth. I saw this happening, and I went over and I stood in front of Richard Amrick, and I said to them, "No, you're not going to do this." They dropped the spokes and went home. And I untied Richard, he went in the house, and I went home. Now, that happened, and it wasn't until I was an adult that I could look back at that and realize what I did. And it's the point of this whole lesson. The point is this: in order to handle something, you have to be willing to confront it. And that's exactly what I did. I saw what was going to happen, and I had this overwhelming feeling that I must do something about it. And the one thing I could do was stand in front of them and confront them and say, "No, you're not going to do this." And unbelievably, they dropped their spokes and left, and that was the end of it. That is a mechanism that you can use in many aspects of your life. You could be in a situation that is going nowhere, or maybe it's not good for you, and you damn well know it. You're not willing to confront it, you can't do anything about it. One of the days, you're going to have to say, "You know what? Here's what is, and that's echo back of another lesson I did. What is, what is. You got to say, wait a minute, let me just confront what the hell is going on here. Okay, I can change it by doing such and such, or this isn't going to change. I'm ending it, I'm getting out of it. Another little example. You have a puppy dog. He poops on the rug. You think, oh, wait a minute, I'll wait till my wife comes home. She can clean it up. Why? You're not willing to confront it. You see it happening, you should go over, clean it up, chastise the dog, I don't know how you do that, but in the old days, they used to say hit him with a newspaper. I don't even know if I would do that, but you'd put his nose by it to show that you don't want him to do that. But whatever it is, you've confronted it and you can handle it. So you can apply this in any aspect of your life. And that's basically the lesson I wanted to give you today. I could make it a lot longer, but I think you got the point, because I'm sure any of you can relate to some incident that you didn't confront and it never got handled, or you did confront it and you handled it. And there's another little datum I'd like to add to this, and that is this. The earlier, the better. Because a lot of these things, if you don't confront it, can start dragging out, and just momentum and sheer, you go into apathy on handling it. As soon as you see something that is happening that you don't want to be part of, or you don't want this to go on, you got to confront it right there. Confront it, and you'll be able to handle it. And I'm telling you, you'll be surprised at yourself, at the capabilities you have within you right now without knowing anything else about it, that you'd be able to handle things that maybe you think you couldn't. Remember, though, you have to be able to confront it in order to handle it. So that's my life lesson for today. I hope you can benefit from this and start applying it, which I'm sure a lot of you have already done this, but you can relate to this in your own mind, situations that you did exactly this and how effective it is. And if you'd like to see the other things I do, you can go to my website called therealronmiscavige.com, and you can see that I also do a thing called Story Time. I also interview other people, and I have a couple books that I've written. Matter of fact, I did an album in England in the 70s. You can see that on my website. At any rate, you can go there and just check me out. But minimally, if you could please share this with as many people as possible, I would appreciate it very much. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. And if you care to, you can become a Patreon and contribute to the ongoingness of this program and the other ones that I do. So that's the life lesson for today. And I wish you all the best, and I wish you success in life, and have a great life and a successful one. For right now, I am Ron Miscavige. This has been a life lesson. I will see you on the next life lesson. Bye-bye.